What up, Geek Squad? This is my little lotto ticket. This is the Ant Router R1 LTC, and it was first released in 2017, so it's about 5 years old at the time of this recording. In fact, it was released, I think, in September 2017. It's now November. No, it's not. It's December 2022. So let's take a look at this. No need to get a fancy unboxing because all it is in the box. Look at this cute little guy. So what is it? Well, it looks like a cell phone charger, an oversized cell phone charger, really, with an Ethernet jack on the front. But this actually mines Litecoin. Yeah, Bitmain released this as an in-home miner that doubles as a Wi-Fi router with very low watt usage. The Wi-Fi frequency on this is 802.11n at the 2.4 gigahertz frequency. Only the 2.4, so it's not a dual band router. So this can be set up as a router or even as a wireless access point. But with the speeds you'd get from this, you could get a much better access point with today's technology for the same cost or less. It runs on 110 or 220. So this is going to be perfect to put on solar in the Bit Cave. And really anywhere that you put it, it pulls less than 4 watts. So it's pretty much free to run. So if we look at the energy cost calculator, the breakdown is a little over 2 cents a year to run at 8 cents per kilowatt hour rate. But as far as a crypto miner goes, this includes a single BM1485 ASIC chip, which is the same chip they use in the L3 and L3 Plus series of ASICs. But because it's only a single chip, it gets 1.29 mega hash on that single chip. But with such a small cost to run...
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
Like I said in the intro, a solo block of Dogecoin is 10,000 Doges. And if we get anywhere near the all-time high in the next bull run, that'll be a pretty nice little payday. So let's dive in and set this thing up already. I did go ahead and factory reset this for you so that we'll be going through and setting this up for the first time together. So we can configure the R1 device to work as a wireless client without needing an Ethernet cable. So you plug it in, give it a couple of minutes to get powered on and boot up and everything. Eventually it should start broadcasting its own SSID that starts with the word Ant Router. We can see that it is broadcasting the Ant Router SSID. We'll want to try and connect to it. They really missed a great opportunity here to name this Wi-Fi SSID BitConnect. I have mine plugged in right there, and my desktop is right there. And as you can see, the signal is crap. You can see that the other SSIDs here are being recognized with a much higher signal, and the access point is in the other room on the other side of that wall. Actually on the other side of the room that's on the other side of that wall. So that gives you an idea of what the broadcast strength would be, so you probably don't want to use this as an access point. Once you connect to the Ant Router, it's going to assign an IP address to your machine, but the IP address to get into the Ant Router on its own created LAN is 192.168.200.1. The default username and password are both root. Once you get logged in, you're going to jump over to the network tab. And as finally populates, you'll want to jump over to the Wi-Fi tab, sub-tab, and here you click scan to see all the Wi-Fi networks in range and join the network you want to connect to. So we find the SSID that we want to connect to and we click join network. Now here we'll put in the password for the network for the wireless connection. Then we're going to come down here to the firewall zone and change it to LAN. Click submit. Then on the next page, everything is right. Click save and apply. Now it's going to do its thing. It's actually going to disconnect us because it's going to stop broadcasting its own LAN. So yeah, we can see here that it is no longer being broadcast. So now we need to locate the IP address for the R1. I'm going to use Angry IP Scanner because the Windstream router I have is a load of garbage and 90% of the time doesn't load the admin GUI. So again, we'll log in with our username and password of root and root. Now that we're wirelessly connected and set up, it's time to set up the pool. We're going to click on the miner tab up here, and you'll notice this looks very familiar, right? You can see that we've got the ant pool is the default. We're going to click the configuration tab, and here you would see where you would put in your the miner information of the pool of your choice. You'll want to hit submit. After you make these changes, you'll want to hit submit and then save and apply. Then you'll want to jump back over here to the status bar where you will check this piece here. Shows an average megahash per second to see that it's active and mining on the pool that you put in. It will take a few minutes to populate and ramp up and start mining on a pool. So if you don't see it right away, have patience and just keep an eye on it there. I've tested the only Dogecoin solo mining pools that I have found that are still active and running with my limited research. I was really hoping to find a merge mine solo pool so I could solo mine Litecoin and Dogecoin at the same time, or even a merge mine pool where Litecoin is pool mined and Dogecoin is solo mined, or vice versa. If you know of such a pool, leave a comment down below. I would love to get it set up that way. So here we are. The two pools that I found that are still active are ZSolo Pool and Lucky Monster, LuckyMonster.pro, I think is what it is. Yeah, LuckyMonster.pro. And I ran each of these two pools for 12 hours apiece to get an idea of how they perform hash rate wise, shares, things like that. I ran them each wired and wireless, and these are my results. So Lucky Monster Wireless and ZSolo Wireless, you can see here that the accepted shares on Lucky Monster are 865 and the accepted shares on ZSolo are only 182. So there's a huge difference there, both on wireless. As wired, where an Ethernet is plugged directly into the device, we got similar results, 879 by Lucky Monster and 190 by ZSolo. Now, you'll notice there's a lot of discarded shares. And so the definition of a discarded share here is shares that were never submitted to the pool. This could happen because someone solved that share first, or maybe the block was solved and the miner restarted the work. So either way, it was a waste of the energy and the hash rate to try to solve that block. But we can see Lucky Monster wired, we're at 879 with 31,000. And over here we're at 190 accepted with 44,000 discarded. So that's, again, a big change. Even under wireless, 865 accepted with 38,000 discarded, and 182 accepted with 36,000 discarded under ZSolo. So it's pretty clear here that Lucky Monster is the better pool for this miner. Moving on. But I was surprised at how little of a difference the wired versus wireless accepted shares turned out to be. So it doesn't seem to matter if they're set up with or without an Ethernet cable. To keep my wireless spectrum a little cleaner, I'm going to hardwire this one in the bit cave, especially with it being on solar, and I've already got a gigabit switch out there, so it just makes sense to just plug it in. So now you really got to ask yourself, is it worth it? For me, the price that I paid, I say yes, obviously. In fact, I'm looking at purchasing an R3 unit as well, which is a little harder to come by and pretty freaking cool. So if I get my hands on one, I'll definitely do a video on it for you. You know, how does this compare against some of the other script mining equipment out there in the world right now? I did a little comparison chart. Why not? So we've got our R1 on the top here with just 3.75 watts. No sound. It's got no fan on it, so there's no dB sound. It only gets 1.29 megahash on that single ASIC chip. And the dimensions are kind of cut off here, but it's small. It's this big, right? Compared to an Antminer L3, which came out around the same time, with 800 watts of power, around 75 dBs of noise, but produces 500 plus mega hash, and is quite a bit bigger. It's, about that big, size of a bread box. Nobody knows what a bread box is anymore. Then, that just came out last year, was the Mini Doge by Goldshell, which is 235 watts, 35 decibels, 185 mega hash, and is, about that big. And then, of course, the king that's out right now is the L7. That's, 3500 watts, 75 dBs in sound, 9500 mega hash, or 9.5 gigahash, and it's about the size of two of those L3s stacked on top of each other. So about yay long, but about yay tall. Yay. By the way, this is the Ant Router R3. It literally is a clock. Well, it's a miner. It's got, I think, 6 ASIC chips in it, so it gets about 11, 12 mega hash. It also is a router. It has a clock on it. So I would love to put a clock right back up there. Let me know if you know where I can get one of these things. I've been looking for them. I can't find them anywhere. There we are, guys. What are your thoughts on this little guy? I think this is genius. For my scenario, I'm not expecting to get anything out of this. Right now, finding these on eBay, they're a little more expensive than I would be willing to pay. They're like 200 and something bucks I've seen them for. Use that best offer button. I'll just say that. I got this for significantly less than what they're going for at the time of recording. Anyway, I like this for my situation. I just set it and forget it, really. I plug it in. It's going to do its thing. I'm going to figure out how to set up an alert on my Ledger wallet so that when I get a transaction, it lets me know if I ever hit a block. So if you found this information useful, make sure you click that thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to the channel. Join the Geek Squad. We'd love to have you. And of course, thanks for watching.